You're a dumb, pathetic old man." Her voice cracked through the silence like a whip. I froze. Not because the words hurt, though they did, but because of the rage behind her eyes. Her face was twisted, red, trembling. She wasn't just angry, she was furious, unreasonably furious. A simmering rage I couldn't understand. "Marissa." "What? Don't Marissa May." She snapped. "You think you can just make decisions behind my back? Fixing things with your pathetic little pension behind my back like I'm some charity case?" I blinked, stunned. "That car needed repairs. I don't care." She screamed, stepping closer. "You think you're useful? You're not. You're old. Slow. Forgetful. You can't do anything right." Her voice echoed through the house. The house I bought. The house I paid off. The house where we built a family. Lightning flashed outside the window, illuminating her face contorted like a stranger dot. Then came the final blow. "Get out of my house." I thought I misheard. Your house?" She stepped forward, shoved my chest with both hands. "You heard me. Get out, Ethan." Her voice shook with venom. "I don't want you here. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to live with a stupid, useless old man." Those words. They hit harder than her shove. I steadied myself, heart thudding. "Marissa, have you lost your mind? What's gotten into?" She cut me off with a scream so sharp it rattled through my bones. I said, "Leave, now." Then before I could process what was happening, she grabbed my suitcase from the hallway closet, already packed. Already packed, as if she had planned this. She rolled it toward me and kicked it at my feet. The betrayal stung deeper. I looked around the living room. All the memories. All the years. All the birthdays, holidays, arguments, reconciliations. And now she was treating me like a stranger invading her space. She jabbed her finger at the front door. "Out!" I stared. Then, slowly, quietly, I picked up the suitcase handle. "Fine," I whispered, but inside me something cold ignited. Not anger. Not revenge. Something deeper. A sense of finality. I walked toward the door. She followed, practically breathing down my neck, muttering insults like they were bullets she couldn't load fast enough. Pathetic old man. Always dragging me down. I should have married someone smarter. Useless. When I reached the doorway, she yanked the door open, rain blowing in my face. "Don't come back," she hissed. I stepped out. She slammed the door so forcefully the house trembled. I stood on the porch, soaked, humiliated, but eerily calm, because she didn't know something. She didn't know who I had already spoken to. What paperwork I had completed 3 months ago. What protections I had put in place after noticing her strange late-night calls, secretive messages, and unexplained withdrawals from our joint account. She didn't know I wasn't stupid. She didn't know I wasn't blind. She didn't know I wasn't helpless. I lifted my phone. The rain drummed on the screen as I scrolled to one name, Attorney Kessler. I pressed call. He answered on the first ring. "Ethan? Is it time?" I stared at the glowing windows of the house I had built, the house she had just thrown me out of. "Yes," I said quietly. "It's time." "Do it." His reply was immediate. "Understood. I'll initiate everything. She will be notified within the week. You'll stay at the reserve location?" "Yes." "Good. You did the right thing." I hung up. A low rumble of thunder rolled across the sky. The wind whipped leaves around my feet like tiny specters. The world felt heavy, dark. On edge, I pulled the hood of my jacket up and walked down the driveway. She had no idea that the moment she kicked me out was the moment she sealed her own fate, because inside that house, behind the walls she thought she owned, behind the bank account she thought she controlled, she was already losing everything. And she didn't even know it yet. A week later, she would be standing in the same rain-soaked driveway, only this time she would be the one with nowhere to go. For a week, the house stayed loud, not because I was inside it, but because she was. The woman who once shared a bed with me, who once held my hand, who once whispered promises about forever. She spent the last 7 days pacing the rooms, slamming doors, arguing over the phone, and pretending she still owned the life she had just thrown away. But she didn't, and she was about to learn that the hard way. I didn't return to the house. Not once, not to check on her, not to see if she regretted what she'd done. Not even when the neighbors whispered about trouble inside. I slept elsewhere. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere peaceful. Somewhere I knew she wouldn't dare search for me, because the call I made on the night she kicked me out set things into motion that couldn't be undone. It was never about revenge. It was about truth. And truth has a way of revealing everything people hide behind anger. On the third night, she tried calling me at 2 a.m. at 2:17, at 2:33, 7 missed calls by sunrise. She left voicemails with shaky breaths and false confidence. Pick up the phone. We need to talk. You can't just disappear like that. Be an adult. I didn't mean everything I said. Every message grew smaller, quieter, more frightened. By the 6th call, her voice cracked. Please, just call me. But I didn't, because she wasn't afraid of losing me. She was afraid of losing what she thought she controlled. By day 5, her tone shifted again. She marched through the house, yelling at no one. He doesn't scare me. He can't do anything. This is my home. Mine. She was lying to herself. She knew it. The walls knew it. Every echo of her voice carried panic. Her foundation was cracking. And on the 7th day, it shattered. It was early morning when the knock came on her door. Firm, professional, unmistakable. She opened it with groggy irritation and froze. 3 men in suits stood outside. Not police. Not neighbors. My legal team. The same team that handled my affairs for 2 decades. And the same team she had never met, because I had made sure she never knew the full extent of my resources. Her breath caught. Her eyes darted between them. Who are you? The lead attorney stepped forward. Ma'am, this property belongs entirely to your husband. You have no legal claim to it. And as of today, per his request, you are being formally removed. The blood drained from her face. That's impossible. We're married. This is my home. No, ma'am, he said calmly. According to the documents you signed 14 years ago, you waived every property right. You have no ownership. And now that you have forcibly removed him, you have forfeited residency as well. She staggered backward. No, he can't do that. He can't. My attorneys didn't flinch. Pack your personal belongings only. You have 1 hour. Her voice broke into a scream. Where is he? Where is that old man? How dare he do this to me? The attorney didn't answer. He simply stepped inside, motioned for the others to follow, and placed a folder on the dining table. Inside were the photos, the messages, the receipts, the secrets she thought she'd buried, every lie she told, every betrayal she committed, every debt she hid, every mistake she blamed me for to cover her guilt. Her knees gave out. She grabbed the edge of the table to keep from collapsing. This isn't real, she whispered. But it was. She had spent years manipulating the story of our marriage, only now realizing how many truths I had quietly stored away behind unspoken patience. She tried calling me again. My phone buzzed once, twice, 3 times. I didn't pick up. She tried calling her sister, same result. Her sister knew everything, knew who was right and who wasn't. And this time she chose silence. She tried calling friends one after another. No answer, no reply, no sympathy. Her actions were finally catching up. And the world she thought belonged to her was collapsing at her feet. 40 minutes into packing, she stepped outside, a suitcase dragging behind her. Her hair unkempt, her eyes red, her breath shallow. The attorney handed her an envelope. This contains temporary housing information, arranged at your husband's discretion. She tore it open and gasped. It wasn't an apartment. It wasn't a hotel. It wasn't even a shelter. It was nothing. A slip of paper with 4 words. Handle your own life. Her hands trembled violently. Her lip quivered. Her eyes darted around the street, searching for me, for a sign of mercy. But I wasn't there. She had kicked me out with hatred. She had screamed in my face, humiliated me, called me worthless, and now she stood on the sidewalk, homeless, speechless. Her life overturned in a single week, for the first time in years. She understood the meaning of consequences. Thunder rumbled in the distance. A storm was coming, and she had no house left to shelter her. The storm rolled in faster than she expected. Dark clouds swallowed the sun, and the wind whipped down the street like it was chasing her. She stood on the curb with her suitcase, looking smaller than I had ever seen her. Her confidence drained, her cruelty gone. Only fear remained, but that fear didn't come from the weather. It came from the truth settling in. She had no home, no backup plan. No one left to blame. My silence had finally spoken. The first raindrop hit her cheek. She flinched like it was a slap. Then another. Then more, a steady, relentless downpour that soaked her hair, her clothes. The suitcase she clung to like it was the last piece of her old life. She looked around the street, desperate. Cars passed without stopping. Neighbors peeked through curtains but didn't open their doors. The world she once bragged about ruling didn't even blink at her. Collapse. Lightning cracked across the sky. She took a trembling breath and finally did what I knew she would do. She ran, not away toward me, toward the one place she thought I might be. The one person she believed would break even after she had broken me. She dragged the suitcase down the block, the wheels squeaking against the wet pavement. Her footsteps splashed through puddles. Her breathing turned sharp and panicked. She kept dialing my number. Again. 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 Each call went unanswered. The storm grew harsher, wind howling, trees bending, rain hitting her like cold needles. She reached the place she assumed I would go. A small church on the hilltop. One I visited on quiet nights when life felt too heavy. A place she hated because it gave me peace she could not control. She stumbled up the steps. Slipped once. Caught herself. Tried the door. Locked. Her chest heaved. Her eyes darted around, searching for my shadow, hoping I'd step out and save her. But I wasn't there. She screamed into the rain, voice cracking. This isn't fair. He can't just leave. He can't do this to me. Her words echoed in the empty lot. No one answered. No one comforted her. She collapsed against the church door, legs shaking, hands trembling, tears mixed with rain. For the first time in her life, she felt what I had felt for years: abandonment, silence, and the weight of consequences she brought upon herself. Minutes passed. Then an hour. She sat on the steps, arms wrapped around her knees, shivering, eyes swollen. She wasn't thinking about what she did to me. Not yet. She was thinking about survival, shelter, warmth, anything stable. And with every minute that passed, her pride eroded. She pulled out her phone again and dialed the one number she had left. Mine. The call didn't connect. Not because I declined, because her phone died. The screen went black in her trembling hands. She stared at it in horror. Her last lifeline, gone. Her breath hitched. Her chest tightened. She looked up at the sky again. The rain poured harder, almost sideways, and thunder boomed so loudly she flinched like she was under attack. She grabbed her suitcase and started walking again, not knowing where to go. Her shoes sank into mud. Her hair clung to her face. Her steps grew sluggish, heavy. Her confidence washed away with the rain. For the first time since she threw me out, I allowed myself to see her again, from a distance, standing under a street lamp across the road. Hidden behind the thick curtain of rain. She didn't see me, she just saw the storm, but I watched every step she took. Every moment she hesitated. Every time she looked over her shoulder, hoping I'd magically appear beside her. Even after everything she did, I was still the one she searched for in her darkest hour, and I didn't move toward her, not because I hated her, not because I wanted her to suffer, but because she needed to understand something she had forgotten the moment she called me dumb and kicked me out of my own house. You don't break the foundation and expect the house to stand. She walked slowly down the road, dragging the suitcase that kept tilting in the mud. Her shoulders slumped, her steps uneven. Lightning flashed again, illuminating the whole street for a split second. And in that flash, I saw the truth on her face: fear, regret, and something deeper, the realization that I was never the weak one. She crossed the intersection toward the old bus stop, the one with the broken bench and graffiti scratched across the shelter wall. She sat down on the cold metal seat, hugging herself, shivering violently. The suitcase rested beside her like a symbol of loss. A stray dog wandered near the stop, sniffed her suitcase, then walked away. Even the dog could sense she had nothing left. The streetlights flickered. Thunder cracked again. She whispered into the empty night, "Please, please, someone help me." But no one came, except one person. Me. Slowly, quietly, I stepped out of the shadows and walked toward her, not enough for her to see me, but enough to watch her fully. My shoes splashed softly in the puddles. My hands stayed in my pockets. Rain hit my bald head, ran down my beard, soaked into my clothes. But I didn't blink. Because this moment was where truth lived. Her shoulders shook as she cried into her palms. A woman who once believed she had power over everything now had nothing but a cold bench and a storm that refused to show mercy. And she still didn't know the biggest truth of all: the call I made a week ago wasn't the end of her downfall. It was only the beginning. The police sirens faded into the distance, leaving behind a trembling silence in the massive empty house. The house that once belonged to me, the one Linda tried to erase me from. She sat on the marble floor, her hands cuffed in front of her, eyes swollen from crying and disbelief. The empire she built on lies shattered. The pride she weaponized against me, gone. The arrogance she carried like armor crumbled. But she wasn't ready for what was coming next. I stepped forward slowly, my shoes echoing through the hallway she once ruled like a queen. She stared up at me, voice shaking. David. I didn't know it would end like this. I got angry. And I asked quietly, "What about when you kicked me out of my own home at midnight? What about when you called me dumb old man in front of strangers? What about when you laughed while I walked away with nothing but my phone and my dignity?" She closed her eyes, the weight of her choices slamming into her. I was stupid," she whispered. "Please, I just need you to help me. One more time." I looked down at her, this woman who once promised loyalty and love, who now knelt in the ruins of her greed. "Linda," I said, voice steady, "I didn't come here to hurt you." She lifted her head, hope flickering. "Then, you'll forgive me?" I didn't answer her yet, because the real twist hadn't begun. The secret she never knew. As she watched me, confused, I walked to the old wooden cabinet near the staircase, the one she never touched. The one she called ugly and outdated. I opened the drawer and took out a sealed brown envelope with her name written on it. Her breath caught. "What is that?" "A truth I kept hidden for years," I said. I placed the envelope on the floor in front of her. She hesitated, then tore it open with shaking fingers. Inside was a stack of documents, legal, clean, precise. Her eyes widened. These are divorce papers. Then her gaze flew to the date. Dated 8 months ago? I nodded. I filed for divorce long before you kicked me out, I said quietly. I had already decided to leave. I just needed proof you were no longer the woman I married. Her lips trembled. You were going to leave me? For years, I stayed because I wanted to believe you were still somewhere inside that bitterness. But the night you kicked me out, you only confirmed what I already knew. She swallowed hard, panic rising. You planned all this? You knew I'd explode? I shook my head. No, I didn't predict your cruelty. But I did prepare for the day you crossed a line I could no longer ignore. Her breathing became rapid. So the call you made, was it to your lawyer? No. Then who? The real call. The revealee leaned down and said, I called the person who now owns this house. She blinked fast. I own this house. My name is on the papers. It was, I corrected. But the moment your accountant reported your illegal transfers, everything changed. She froze. Transfers? Yes, Linda. All the money you quietly moved from our joint accounts to your private fund. The investigator tracked every dollar. And when the court saw the evidence, the house was frozen. Then transferred. Her voice cracked. Transferred to who? To the person I trusted most. I stepped aside, and at that moment, the front door opened. Linda's jaw dropped. Standing there was Emily. Not my daughter. Not my sister. Not a lawyer. A woman in her 40s with sharp eyes, calm posture, and an air of quiet authority. She walked toward us with controlled confidence. You, Linda whispered. It's you again. The woman from the firm. My husband's accountant? She's more than that, I corrected. Emily extended her hand to me, and I took it. Linda, she said firmly. I am David's fiancée. Linda's scream echoed off the walls. What? A fiancée? You're engaged? I nodded calmly. We've been together for a year. I stayed silent because I wanted our separation to happen cleanly. But you made it destructive. Linda stared at me like I was a stranger. You replaced me. Before you even left? No, I said. I found someone who respected me while you were busy disrespecting me. Linda collapsed backward, sobbing uncontrollably. The final blow of Kaiser. Emily crouched next to her and spoke coldly. You should know something else. When you threw him out, when you humiliated him, you didn't break him. You freed him. She lifted the final document from the envelope. This house now legally belongs to me, and therefore to us. You have 24 hours to remove your belongings. Linda stared, eyes wide with horror. We are evicting me. No, I said gently. The court is. Actions have consequences. She clutched my sleeve desperately. David, please, I can't live on the road. Don't do this to me. I'll change, I swear. I stepped back. You already did this to yourself. Emily took my hand again, and just like that, we walked out, leaving her behind in the house she no longer owned. As the door closed, her cries faded. The night felt calm. The wind warm. The future wide open. Karma didn't need weapons. It only needed time. And Linda finally faced hers.